This episode of Techno Buffalo is brought to you by Shutterstock.com. Welcome back to another episode of Rettinger's Rants. It's a show where I rant and rave and give opinions on anything from the world of technology and sometimes a little bit outside of it. Up this week, we're going to talk about trade shows. I just got back from CES. As you can tell from my voice, I didn't make it back unscathed. So we're talking about trade shows and their waning influence and what can be done to try and boost them back up to the glorious spectacles of technology they once were. This is Rettinger's Rants. Let's go ahead and get started. So for those of you guys that have been living under a tech rock for the past few weeks, last week was the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, held every year in Las Vegas. Of course, the Techno Buffalo crew was there covering it. Usually CES is where we see giant product announcements, new phones, new tablets, new televisions, new refrigerators, sometimes even new cars are announced. This year, though, was a much tamer event. Last year, we saw AT&T unveil 4 new phones. This year, AT&T just talked about the connected house. Last year, we saw Samsung debut some hot new handsets and tablets. This year, we saw the Galaxy Note 10.1 with 4G LTE on it. Really, there's been a huge difference in the trade show influence over the past few years. Quite honestly, I think it's the Apple influence that we're seeing. Companies are starting to really love these one-off events where they can be the focus of all the media attention for that day. Apple hosts their keynotes and the whole world is fixated on what Apple is going to announce. Samsung is now doing the same thing and the whole world's fixated on what Samsung is going to announce. HTC is starting to do the same thing. Google's doing the same thing with their next devices. And everything that used to get announced at CES is no longer being announced at the trade show. So what's happening to the trade show world? Well, CES 2013 actually had a record number of attendees, which is kind of interesting considering there wasn't really any flagship products. We did see some awesome TVs get unveiled and some new appliances, but nothing that really screamed out, this is the awesome product of the year. So my concern is what's going to happen to trade shows. We look back at E3, which is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, the big gaming show, and that show almost went away a few years ago. It grew and grew and grew and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it got more and more expensive, and suddenly they hit diminishing returns. They weren't getting what they wanted out of the show, and E3 was pretty much canceled for a little while and got teeny tiny until it was brought back a few years ago. And I think CES are gonna have to undergo the same type of transformation. You look at a show like CTIA, which now just merged with another organization. It's the big wireless show in the US. That show got smaller and smaller and smaller. It was super sad. We went to the San Diego show last year. There was nobody there. Nobody was showing anything. The importance of trade shows is really becoming less important as companies want more and more attention. So think about it. If you were a company, you had a big product to unveil, you could take the stage at CES and you could proudly show Doohickey X and say, boom, here's Doohickey X, everybody love it. And for the hour or so your trade show is going on, people are going to be talking about it. But then somebody else holds a press event a few hours later and suddenly Doohickey X is Doohickey yesterday. And the influence and all the writing that would have been done about it, video that would have been done about it, is now being spent on other products. So it makes sense from a business standpoint. Also, trade shows are super expensive. These booths cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build, to maintain. The shows take place in Las Vegas, so of course they are paying union wages, so it can get very expensive to put on these trade shows. I'm not sure the companies are getting their full value out of it. So I think CES again is going to get smaller and smaller and eventually be reserved for a few big announcements and a few select companies, which is really sad to say. CES is one of the great things in our industry. I look forward to it every year, even though I get sick every year after the trade show. But I think it's bound to happen as the industry is changing. So let me stop this analyzation for a minute to thank our friends and sponsors at Shutterstock.com. Shutterstock.com is a place to go when you're looking for stock photos, vectors, illustrations, and video clips. You can sign up for large image packs, monthly subscriptions, or just grab a single image for your blog or mock-up. They even offer enhanced license access in case you want to print an image out or get it screened on a tee. Shutterstock.com is not going to nickel and dime you. You pay one price for any resolution image that you want. You have to worry about paying more for HD. They make it super easy to use for your blog or website. You're always going to need stock images for all kinds of cool stuff. Shutterstock.com is the place to go. Head on over to Shutterstock.com or install their iPad app to get started. No credit card needed. When you find the images you want, enter offer code TECHNO1 to get 30% off any package. Again, enter code TECHNO1 and get 30% off any package at Shutterstock.com. So what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check us out at TechnoBuffalo.com for the latest and greatest tech news. I'm John Rettinger. I'll see you in the next video.